We all know that student background affects student academic performance. So what we did with this report card is adjust for student background in order to correctly identify high-performing schools. Too many report cards penalize schools for taking in and educating needier students. So this report card is a very simple way of taking student background into account and providing policymakers with a clear way to identify successful schools. Suburban schools frequently appear to be doing rather well, but they have the fortunate situation of having students who come from perhaps families that can afford tutoring programs or other special programs. And so one of the really interesting things about this report card is that our top ranked school is DPS's Thurkle Elementary, which actually has 90% of its students coming from low-income backgrounds. The moment you walk into Thurkle, it's apparent that Thurkle has a tremendous leader. At Thurkle, the principal, Dr. Clara Smith, focuses on discipline first so that when students are in the classroom, they can focus on learning. And it is just immediately apparent. The school's cafeteria is one of the quietest cafeterias I have ever been in, no exaggeration. Students, when they walk through the hallway, are very respectful. And this is all done by reaching out to parent volunteers and through positive behavior reinforcement. This is not done, through video cameras or some, kind of discipline crackdown. This is really done by respecting students and getting them to understand that the purpose of them being at school is to learn. So last year we did a high school report card. This year we're doing an elementary and middle school report card. So schools that serve grades K through 8 were included in this report card. We used a tremendous amount of data to produce these results. Test scores on the state MEP exams from grades 3 through 8 were used. And they were used for the past 4 years. So some schools actually have 66 different tests that were used to create these scores. So bottom line, these scores aren't going to fluctuate because of 1 or 2 exams. Many of these schools, their scores will likely remain the same for years to come. Michigan has a number of different school report cards, but many of them appear to penalize schools for taking in students from needy backgrounds. As policy moves forward that focuses on school reform, it becomes increasingly important to identify schools, successful schools, correctly. My hope is that this report card will help parents see what schools are successful, even after taking into account student backgrounds. So one thing that you can do is you can go to our website, mackinac.org, find this report card, search for schools in your district, and find the one that is serving students the best. So my hope is that parents will use this as a resource, that legislators will use this to identify schools that are successful and see whether there are practices that they can replicate.